15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club.
Now, I need you to stay with me until the end of this video because what we're about to uncover will change how you see both of these stars forever. This isn't just your regular celebrity gossip. This is about power, fame, respect, and the cost of staying true to yourself in an industry that'll try to break anyone who doesn't play by its rules. And trust me, the drama is wild. It all starts with Katt Williams, who, in a 3-hour interview with Shannon Sharpe, didn't hold back. He spoke openly about Hollywood, the industry, and yes, Kevin Hart. Katt called him out in a way that no one else in Hollywood would dare. He accused Kevin of being fake, power-hungry, and even implied that he compromised his integrity to climb to the top. Now, Kevin Hart is one of the biggest comedians alive, a billionaire superstar, and someone who has built an empire. But according to Katt, that success didn't just happen naturally. He said Hollywood manufactured Kevin's rise, and the proof, according to Katt, is in plain sight. Katt began by talking about boundaries and how, as a performer, you have to know when to say no. He shared his own experiences of going through health struggles, surviving a tumor in his jaw, and maintaining his integrity through it all. He explained how he's always passed drug tests, never had a DUI, and never let the industry push him to do things that made him uncomfortable. Then he turned the conversation to Kevin Hart, and things got heated. Katt accused Kevin of being fake, power-hungry, and even implied that he compromised his integrity to climb to the top. Now, Kevin Hart is one of the biggest comedians alive, a billionaire superstar, and someone who has built an empire. But according to Katt, that success didn't just happen naturally. He said Hollywood manufactured Kevin's rise, and the proof, according to Katt, is in plain sight. Katt began by talking about boundaries, and how as a performer, you have to know when to say no. He shared his own experiences of going through health struggles, surviving a tumor in his jaw, and maintaining his integrity through it all. He explained how he's always passed drug tests, never had a DUI, and never let the industry push him to do things that made him uncomfortable. Then he turned the conversation to Kevin Hart, and things got heated. Katt accused Kevin of being following the system, doing whatever it took to remain relevant, and becoming Hollywood's puppet. He even referenced moments when Kevin was asked to wear a dress for a comedy scene, something Kevin had publicly refused to do before. According to Katt, this wasn't just about comedy, it was a test of obedience. He compared it to stories from Dave Chappelle and other comedians who refused to bend and were labeled difficult. Katt explained that Kevin passed the test, complied, and in doing so, solidified his career and brand. To Katt, this wasn't funny, it was symbolic of the control Hollywood has over stars. He said that Kevin's brand wasn't built on genius, but on obedience, and that made him the smiling face of the machine. Kevin Hart, on the other hand, didn't just sit back. He responded publicly on The Breakfast Club, calling out Katt for blowing opportunities, skipping shows, and blaming everyone but himself for failures. Kevin made it clear that he sees his career differently. To him, building an empire, maintaining discipline, and adapting to the system isn't selling out, it's survival. But Katt's accusations weren't going anywhere. Fans and the media started to debate endlessly about who was telling the truth. Was Katt the honest truth-teller, exposing Hollywood's dark side? Or was he just bitter that he didn't reach Kevin's level of fame and success? Social media exploded after the interview. Clips from old interviews resurfaced, Dave Chappelle, Martin Lawrence, Richard Pryor, all stories that tied into the same narrative about Hollywood pressure and the price of fame. Katt's fans called him brave for speaking out. Kevin's fans defended him, pointing out his work ethic and ability to balance comedy, business, and family-friendly content. Twitter became a war zone. Memes, videos, and hot takes flooded every platform. People couldn't stop debating the implications of this feud. And let's talk about some of the specifics that Katt brought up. He mentioned moments on film sets where black actors were pressured to wear dresses or do things that made them uncomfortable. He connected these dots to Kevin Hart's career, saying that Kevin was handpicked to rise while Katt and others were replaced or pushed aside for not complying. He explained that this system rewards submission over raw talent, and that Hollywood had a formula for creating stars like Kevin Hart, stars who would follow the rules, play the game, and remain safe, while others were punished for speaking their truth. Kevin, in response, has shown that he's unbothered publicly, but behind the scenes, his team is reportedly monitoring everything Katt says. Legal teams are ready, but Kevin also understands that the best defense is to keep working, stay relevant, and protect his brand. Meanwhile, Katt continues to speak, refusing to be silenced, painting himself as the rebel who won't compromise. The clash between the two isn't just personal, it represents two sides of Hollywood. One side is strategic, controlled, and polished. The other is raw, unfiltered, and unwilling to bend. Now, before we go any further, I need you to stick with me until the end because some of the things Katt said will shock you, and the way Kevin responded is equally mind-blowing. This feud isn't just entertaining, it's a window into how Hollywood really works. We're talking about everything from secret deals to career tests disguised as comedy scenes. And the reactions from fans, fellow comedians, and media insiders? Absolutely wild. Katt Williams didn't just stop at accusing Kevin Hart of compliance. He went deeper. He explained that Hollywood often replaces outspoken talent with controllable stars. He said it wasn't just about Kevin being funny, it was about Kevin being manageable. Katt pointed to his own experiences, how he was one of the biggest comedians in the mid-2000s, selling out arenas, starring in movies, owning specials. And then suddenly, scandals, rumors, arrests, and negative stories started spreading faster than his punchlines. Almost overnight, Kevin Hart started showing up everywhere. The same studios, the same directors, the same roles, almost as if he was the replacement Katt never agreed to be. Katt claims that was no coincidence. Hollywood needed a safe, compliant superstar, and Kevin fit the role perfectly. Fans quickly noticed the pattern. Katt's followers argued that Kevin's rise seemed too clean, too fast, and too polished. The industry rarely lets anyone soar without a little push from behind the curtain. Meanwhile, Kevin's supporters argued that Katt was letting jealousy cloud his judgment. They reminded everyone of Kevin's undeniable talent, his unmatched work ethic, and the smart choices that built his empire, including movies, stadium tours, production companies, and even his liquor brand. The argument wasn't about who was funnier, it was about who survived the harsh realities of Hollywood while staying true to their own rules. Katt's examples hit hard. He recounted moments from film sets where actors were pressured to wear dresses or take part in humiliating scenes for laughs. Katt refused every time, saying, "I'm funnier than a dress. Just give me something funny to say." He even shared an experience working on a movie with Martin Lawrence, where a scene involved him being disguised as a prostitute. Katt said he refused, no matter how funny it was supposed to be. According to Katt, these moments are tests that the industry uses to see who will bend and who won't. Kevin, Katt claims, passed those tests, which is why his career exploded while others were sidelined. This is where the feud gets even more intense. Katt accused Kevin of being a Hollywood plant, a pre-selected manufactured star meant to replace those who were too difficult to control. The implication was that Kevin's rise wasn't entirely organic. He didn't just succeed on talent alone. He succeeded because he played the game. This accusation stunned viewers and fans alike, because Kevin Hart has always been portrayed as the self-made, energetic, family-friendly superstar, someone who worked hard to get where he is. But Katt's words painted a very different picture, one that many fans couldn't ignore. Kevin didn't let the accusation slide. On The Breakfast Club, he clapped back, saying that Katt blew his own opportunities and blamed everyone but himself for missed success. Kevin's response was sharp, calling Katt a hypocrite and reminding everyone that in this industry, talent is important, but professionalism and consistency are just as critical. He reminded the public that he built his empire not by cutting corners, but by adapting, working tirelessly, and turning every opportunity into a step forward. Kevin's words resonated with many fans, who saw him as the embodiment of discipline, resilience, and smart hustle. Meanwhile, Katt remained unbothered. In the Shannon Sharpe interview, he spoke calmly but with a sharp edge, calling out the hypocrisy and pointing fingers at the way the industry treats outspoken black entertainers. He highlighted the double standard. When you speak out, you're labeled difficult or unstable. When you conform, you're rewarded. To Katt, Kevin Hart became the ultimate example of that system at work. This wasn't personal for him. It was a statement about power, control, and who gets to survive in Hollywood. The internet went wild. Memes, videos, clips from old interviews, and debates flooded social media. Fans compared Kevin and Katt to legends like Richard Pryor, Dave Chappelle, and Martin Lawrence, all of whom struggled with Hollywood's rules in their own ways. Many noticed patterns. Comedians who spoke their truth often faced obstacles, while those who adapted seemed to rise faster and higher. Some fans accused Katt of jealousy, while others praised him for speaking uncomfortable truths. The conversation wasn't just about Kevin and Katt anymore. It became a discussion about the entire entertainment industry and how fame is controlled and packaged. Katt even highlighted moments that shocked people. He spoke about the infamous Saturday Night Live appearance when Kevin wore full drag, something he had sworn publicly he would never do. Katt saw it not as comedy, but as compliance. Kevin passed the test, showing he could follow orders even if it contradicted his previous statements. For Katt, that wasn't funny. It was proof of the system at work. And while Kevin was laughing all the way to the bank, Katt was left questioning the true cost of fame and the sacrifices required to reach that level. But Kevin sees things differently. He believes in strategy, long-term planning, and mastering the system without losing your audience. To him, every move is calculated, and every decision is part of building an empire. He knows that in Hollywood, talent alone isn't enough. You need to understand how to navigate the politics, the pressures, and the expectations. That's why he survived, thrived, and became one of the richest comedians alive. He doesn't see compliance as selling out. He sees it as playing smart, and that's a perspective many fans admire. But Katt's story resonates too. He represents the rebel, the unfiltered truth-teller who refuses to compromise. He's the voice of raw authenticity even if it comes with consequences. Katt's career may have faced obstacles, but he remains unapologetically himself, calling out Hollywood, questioning authority, and reminding everyone that not all fame is earned through talent alone. His words spark debate because they expose something uncomfortable, the harsh realities behind the glitz, glamour, and laughter. And this feud isn't over. Even after years, fans are still dissecting interviews, analyzing statements, and debating who's right. Kevin continues to grow his empire, keeping his public image polished, while Katt continues to speak his truth, refusing to stay silent. Their clash is more than comedy. It's a window into how Hollywood shapes careers, rewards compliance, punishes defiance, and maintains control. The stakes aren't just reputations, they're legacies. If you're still with me, you know this isn't just about jokes. It's about power, strategy, and the cost of fame. Katt and Kevin are two sides of the same coin. One mastered the system, the other refused to bend. And the tension between them exposes truths that Hollywood doesn't want you to see. So don't scroll away. Watch closely, because what happens next in this feud could change everything you think you know about your favorite comedians. As 2024 unfolded, Katt Williams didn't hold back. He kept dropping more details about what he saw as Hollywood's hidden system. He explained that many big names in the industry aren't as self-made as fans think. For years, he said, studios and agents have been quietly picking and choosing who rises, who falls, and who gets erased. According to Katt, Kevin Hart's rise wasn't an accident. It was carefully guided, almost like a chess game. While Katt and other outspoken comedians were seen as unpredictable, Kevin played the role of the reliable, controlled, and polished superstar. And that, Katt claimed, is exactly how the industry protects its power. Fans couldn't stop talking about the interview. Social media exploded with reactions, clips, and memes. Some people agreed with Katt, saying Hollywood often manufactures stars and that Kevin's career trajectory felt almost too perfect. Others defended Kevin, saying he worked harder than anyone and that his success was deserved. The debate spilled across platforms, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, turning into one of the biggest entertainment controversies of the year. People weren't just choosing sides, they were dissecting every story, every interview, every past scandal, and every movie role. Katt also shared personal experiences to prove his point. He recounted how, at the height of his career, he faced pressure to compromise his values for certain roles. Writers and directors asked him to do things he wasn't comfortable with, like wearing dresses or taking part in demeaning scenes. Katt refused every time, even if it meant losing the role or angering powerful figures. He said he didn't care about fame at the expense of his integrity. Meanwhile, he claimed Kevin Hart was willing to compromise, follow the rules, and do what was necessary to climb higher. That, Katt said, wasn't just talent, it was strategy, and to him, it came at the cost of a soul. Kevin's response, though measured, was powerful. In interviews and public appearances, he reminded fans that he's built his empire from scratch. He's faced challenges, setbacks, and criticism, but he didn't let it stop him. He works hard, he stays disciplined, and he makes smart decisions. To Kevin, success isn't about bending over backward for anyone, it's about knowing how to navigate Hollywood's complicated system while staying true to your long-term goals. Fans who admire his journey see him as the ultimate example of resilience and smart hustle. But the feud isn't just about personal grudges. Katt argued that it reflects a larger problem in the entertainment industry, how outspoken black entertainers are treated versus those who are agreeable and polished. He said the pattern isn't new. Richard Pryor, Martin Lawrence, and Dave Chappelle all faced similar challenges. They clashed with studios and faced public scrutiny for speaking their truth. Those who adapted and played by Hollywood's rules often thrived, while those who resisted sometimes got sidelined. Katt painted Kevin Hart as the modern example of this system, a comedian who learned to play the game perfectly while others struggled to survive. The public reaction was intense. Fans debated endlessly online. Some people pointed out that Katt seemed bitter or jealous, but others applauded him for exposing Hollywood secrets. Memes circulated showing Kevin with devil horns or Katt holding stacks of receipts, symbolizing the clash between the controlled superstar and the truth-teller who refuses to play along. Clips from old interviews resurfaced, comparisons to other legendary comedians were made, and fans dissected every line from the Shannon Sharpe interview. The feud became more than entertainment. It was a cultural discussion about power, control, and fame. One of the most viral moments was Katt accusing Kevin of taking the Hollywood test and passing. That moment caused people to pause. The test, as Katt described it, was a subtle way for Hollywood to see who would comply and who would resist. Kevin's willingness to participate in certain comedic setups, even when he had previously sworn he wouldn't, showed, according to Katt, that he was willing to sacrifice his principles for success. That image stuck with viewers because it questioned the cost of success in Hollywood and whether talent alone is enough to survive the system. Kevin's side of the story was quieter but strategic. He didn't attack Katt personally in public. Instead, he focused on his brand, his work ethic, and his achievements. Every appearance, every interview, and every social media post was calculated to show that he's disciplined, focused, and unbothered by the drama. While Katt was speaking truth bombs, Kevin was quietly reinforcing the narrative of the self-made superstar who adapts, survives, and thrives. It was the perfect example of two contrasting approaches to fame, rebellion versus strategy. This feud also brought attention to Hollywood's inner workings. Fans started questioning more than just Kevin and Katt. They asked uncomfortable questions. How many other stars have been guided by the system? How many have been replaced quietly when they refuse to cooperate? Why do outspoken entertainers often face obstacles while polished stars rise? Katt's comments opened a broader conversation about fame, authenticity, and the hidden rules of the entertainment industry. Through it all, one thing is clear. Neither Kevin Hart nor Katt Williams will disappear quietly. Kevin continues building his empire with movies, tours, and businesses, while Katt continues speaking out, refusing to be silenced and exposing what he sees as the truth. Both are powerful, both are influential, and both represent different sides of Hollywood's coin. Fans can't help but watch, compare, and debate, making this feud one of the most captivating in recent entertainment history. If you think this story is over, think again. Katt's words will continue to circulate, interviews will keep being dissected, and Kevin's strategic moves will keep proving his empire is built to last. The tension between the two isn't just drama, it's a reflection of a system that rewards compliance and punishes defiance. It's about power, influence, and what it truly costs to become a superstar.